when is the point where your late game is going to start to suffer? But we're in map 2, Golden Heights, all yours.
All right, spawning it on the northern side, it is going to be MarineLorD with the Ottomans in purple this time around, and Beast is going to be in command of the Holy Roman Empire with the yellow color to the south, and looks like Beast is going to commit to that dock once again very heavily. This time around he pulls 3 villagers. Previous game he pulled 2 villagers and he got the advantage building up the dock. This time around, let's see if he gets scouted by MarineLorD. That's the first big thing here. I think MarineLorD is going to catch these villagers here with the scout. Yup.
Yep, there it is. Caught off. Does he react to it though? And what does he do in reaction to it? Does he build up his own dock? Does he try to surround?
Oh, he's going to sneak a barracks. I'm not sure if that was the starting initial plan for MarineLorD.
No.
I think he went for a dock himself, but then he saw the 3 villagers and was like, there's no way I can get my dock up here. So he's gonna go for a forward barracks, but same is the game plan here for Beasty.
This is definitely like, it feels like both of these players are trying to counter one another in the same ways. Like, oh, I see they're going for their dock, so I'm gonna build up a barracks and then push in and get that dock canceled up before they can get too much done. But at the same time, MarineLorD got the information, so he pulls away and builds his own barracks in case Beasty is already going to build up his own dock. It's just like mind games after mind games.
Even better
here. Is he going to stop building the barracks to get on the dock?
He's actually keeping the resources being floated. Oh, he's actually going to finish it, but I think he was waiting for the clue from MarineLorD. As long as he doesn't finish the building, he isn't going to lose the resources and he can get a full refund when he cancels it. So he just finished it 99%, wanted to see what MarineLorD is up to, and only finish the building if he needs it. Such a clever move by Beasty.
This is some 10D chess that's happening right now, and we literally just got started. It's kind of telling you level of competition that we have in here between basically 2 of the best players out there in AoE4. Double barracks. Will it be the right play? Dock is not up, and we know, at least for MarineLorD that is, Beasty's built up his own and 1 barracks in the background, so you're trying to commit to as much infantry as possible. And Beasty's going to spot the 2 spearmen coming up to him. They're going to go for a fight, and 1 is going to come in support, but it's only off the knowledge of 1 barracks. There's the 2nd spearman coming out of the woodwork. 3rd one to come in and support MarineLorD in this fight. And there's going to be a comfy moment here just for a sec. But it's those rally points that might prove a bit too much to handle. Bonneville walking up, a 4th spearman and the scout even joining in on the fight might be the one flexion point. But 1 spearman will fall from MarineLorD. It's a big micro fight here in the dock side. They're going to start burning down the dock as they go, but spearman numbers are going to keep going up for Beasty. Both players have spearmen in queue. 2nd one will go in also for MarineLorD.
Beasty anticipated the barracks from MarineLorD, but I'm not sure if he anticipated double barracks out here, and initially he had to fall back because of the overwhelming numbers from MarineLorD. Now, the good news is that he has an easier time reinforcing here with the closer barracks, and now it's 6 spearmen versus 8, but I think on the screen we have 6 versus 6, so this is a fight that Beasty could take. Problem here for him is that he's trying to defend the dock, which gives him absolutely no value right now. It's not like there's a single fishing ship working over here. It's not like his villagers are dropping off shorefish. So he has to commit resources into defending something that's virtually useless right now.
And it's being repaired. This is just buying time for Beasty. And he's going to go up, put in a tower. Defensively, he's going to force the fight. MarineLorD's going to come in. And the fact that he has so many spearmen might be helpful, but the positioning of Beasty, despite the lesser numbers that he has, is helping out, using the tower on the dock to pressure and lock in MarineLorD. Get the extra range of the spearmen to play in for him. The tower will be cancelled. However, a lot of damage done to MarineLorD's spearmen, but the micro has saved the numbers. The double barracks 7-head play is definitely doing numbers on Beasty.
Yeah, such a good play over here by MarineLorD. Beastyqt did the right thing. He waited until he had even numbers, dropped the tower as he took the fight. Problem was that, once again, reinforcements came in a little faster from MarineLorD than anticipated. And then MarineLorD just had the numbers advantage. Now the dock goes down. Barracks could be lost over here for Beastyqt as well. And if you look at the resources, now this is getting grim. Because, don't forget, Beastyqt has been spending a lot of his food on those spearmen. Now, last time I checked, MarineLorD had most of the sheep trailing his scout. So yeah, looking under the town center of Beastyqt, we can see that there is going to be a definitive shortage of food very soon.
Yeah, and you've already invested so much into that fight that you ended up losing on the side of on the dock side. And MarineLorD has had to invest a lot in his own spearmen, but has actually yielded something, and he could come forward, build up his own dock, which is exactly what he's doing. And big water control is going to pay back for those spearmen and more. Massive control.
And more importantly, not only is MarineLorD going to have the numbers advantage on the spearman department, he could also be beating his opponent to feudal age over here, unless he gets pushed away from the gold. Look at that, he's actually popping a Mether in Dark Age, not something that you see every day.
Oh. It's going to help you out with that extra attack speed. Honestly, MarineLorD already has so much control that it's not something that it really needs right now.
Yeah, it's more about the fact that you want to use your Vizier points and you want to get that Matter out anyway, so might as well just grab it when you can.
So poking, prodding into that wood line. Beasty's got to do something here, but it's being cornered.
Yeah, he's still accomplishing a lot.
Yeah.
He's shutting down the gold mine. That's a big value. For a long time, it seemed like MarineLorD was going to beat him to feudal age. But because he shut down the gold mine, he slowed down the feudal age of MarineLorD quite a bit. And MarineLorD is going to clean this up, but he's going to be a solid minute behind compared to Beastyqt into feudal.
We got the Nirvana drummer up here, the Meter of MarineLorD, just trying to keep up with the rest of the spearmen. Fortunately for Beastyqt, there's no, I guess, boost that gives you extra speed. That would be next level. But it does allow Beastyqt, on top of denying the gold for just a moment, delaying it, to actually get a wall up on his side of the map, so he stays clear and is able to pull whatever's left of his army back to safety.
It's gonna be the Twin Minaret coming in here for MarineLorD, no surprise on that front. He's going to have the water control, and it's such a lovely move to see him spreading out the spearman on the shoreline, just to make sure that Beastyqt cannot sneak a dock upon him. And if MarineLorD can maintain that naval presence, his eco is going to be eventually better than the HRE one. Remains to be seen what Beastyqt is gonna do, but Beastyqt is gonna have to make something happen on the food department because he's already out of sheep.
Yeah, that's the detriment of losing the water fight. It never even got to a water fight, but just the docks gives the advantage over to MarineLorD. And now the age up has happened. Finally, both players in feudal. But the eco difference might start slipping more and more away to MarineLorD. Remind everybody of map 1, where all that Beastyqt had to do, I know, quote unquote, all that he had to do, is to hold off until the 20 or so minute mark, where he could get into Imp with the Pulse Swabia and make sure that his eco ramps up quickly.
I think this time around...
not HRE.
Yeah, I think this time around it's just going to be a second town center. He's mining stone for it, and honestly, this is a bit of a risky choice against an aggressive civilization like the Ottomans. That being said, MarineLorD isn't really posturing very aggressively right now, and he was very delayed into feudal age, so Beastyqt knows he can get away with this, and having a second town center, having emergency repairs available in that position as well, if he can hold off potentially one larger assault from the Ottomans, I think he's going to be in a great position to win the game. Big question will be when a MarineLorD spots this town center, because a lot could hang on that.
It is pretty exposed, but it does take on a power position. Close to the sacred site, you got gold nearby, you got a lot of wood to work with, you have a decent amount of food to help you in that early phase, and it's going to help you protect against a massive army that MarineLorD currently has. 30 to 8 on the other side. That TC fire is going to be extra important, and he's hiding behind that forest. Finally, the TC will be spotted, and MarineLorD does not engage. Immediately realizing that this is a power spot I cannot fight into, I'm going to pull back and use my eco advantage on the water and maybe, get my own defenses up, get my own second TC up too.
Yeah, he's mining stones, so he's not very far away from playing a second town center, although that's a little bit more uncharacteristic of the Ottomans, and I'm not even sure if that's the direction that MarineLorD should go. I feel like you don't want to play an economy race with the HRE. What you would want to do here is leverage this food eco that you have from the fishing and do something before it expires. We don't have a lot of fish available, so this is not gonna be as sustainable as what Beasty has going for him. Might as well just leverage this for an earlier castle age and maybe drop a keep right next to that town center and say hello there.
That's very true. And then now is the position and the amount of resources that were put together. MarineLorD is going to actually use this moment to walk around the map with his own army to try to stop that stone collection, which is already pretty low for Beastie. So just putting pressure, run the back lines, maybe able to poke and prod and find a couple of units coming out of the production buildings. Beastie is very limited on his army currently. He was not able to afford it in the past. And we'll see a lot of buildings coming up in the back of MarineLorD's base. How helpful will that be in production? We'll see in just a moment here. But the fish eco is going to give you a big boon, and he's using every bit of it.
Yeah, MarineLorD is starting to float a lot of food over here. Now, where did he go with his stone? I couldn't catch that. I don't see a second town center on the minimap, so... Did it just go into military schools? It kind of seems like it. Yeah, he just went with double military schools.
I believe 2 of them that were built up, yeah.
If he wants to go to castle, he needs a lot more gold. So I'm a little puzzled over here. He's floating a lot of food, has a lot of wood. He could double down on feudal, but if he wants to do that, he needs to do it now. Or he could go to castle, but then he needs a lot more gold. He's going to double down on feudal, though. He's going siege engineering.
All right, that's a lot of dedication here for MarineLorD. And like you said, the Ottomans kind of early to mid game is a big boon for him. He's had the control over on the docks, so you don't want to go to a late game fight against HRE. We saw what happens when you try to do that. I'll just wink and prod at map number 1 in our series. But being able to push forward with the army allows MarineLorD to take control of that forward gold if he wishes to. He's currently locked in on a bit less map control than he would like, given the army mass that he has currently.
Yeah, it looks like MarineLorD is going to change his mind. He's not going to double down on feudal, actually. He's going up to castle. I like that a lot more. I think here, you don't really want to take feudal engagements against the HRE, because unless you win the game here, you're screwed. Whereas if you go to castle, especially if the military school is building up cavalry for you, plus getting to castle age and getting some knights out, possibly some men-at-arms, that should give you a nice foothold that you could convert into a forward castle, and that should give you a lot more damage potential than, let's say, a feudal age ramp push would.
Military school could be a great investment here, despite the expense. Just to have the extra army later on where you don't really need to think about it. Just constantly producing your units in the background. Be able to use that later on in game, but any siege engines, anything like that too. The idea of dropping the keep close to the TC and controlling the sacred site mountain top would be pretty cool to have. But that again, that depends on a lot of what MarineLorD can actually pull in this case. Regnitz Cathedral is coming up, so certainly a choice. Moving up in the ages. MarineLorD already on Castle Age. Beasty will be keeping up in just a moment. And there it is, on to Castle Age. Like we saw before with HRE, you want to get to that Pas Schwabia. But you're going to need a few more resources, and at least staying away from the fight is being helpful. But how long can you delay the engagement?
Yeah, I think at this point it's less urgent for Beasty to consider Imperial because he's working on 2000ers. What's urgent for him is to build up a force though. And he decided to go up with the Regnitz Cathedral so he doesn't have the Burgrave Palace and the infantry spam potential. He dropped like 3 or 4 barracks back at home, but he's yet to build up substantial numbers. We can see that at the top of the screen. 57 army as opposed to 21. And look at that, MarineLorD is doing other things too. Walling in the relics, making sure that Beasty can't easily grab them. And that's getting scary because Beasty isn't even aware of the ram push that's coming up over here. He's got no vision on it.
Yeah, those rams are key. Finally, that TC that has gone unpunished for so long will get pushed in. It's going to force the Vils to pull back for a moment here. Will this be the big fight commit? Might need to be. Look at the amount of army that's sitting behind. 62 to 26. MarineLorD can clear the army and also keep the damage up on the TC. Already down to 50% HP. You can put as many Vils in there as you want. There's just not going to be enough damage coming out of it. And it's going to go down in just a second here. Vils will be evacuated in a sec, but they're just keeping up that repair. Somehow surviving through the onslaught. And manpower still dropping for MarineLorD, but it might just be enough. But he's able to survive. Now he's going to pull back. Beasty with the right quality of units that keep him in the fight. The TC still staying alive. And I would say still, despite the good defense from Beasty, smart from MarineLorD to conserve the Rams and the rest of the army and not overcommit. Keep his advantage really on the ground.
Emergency repairs came in clutch over there, but I guess the alarming thing for MarineLorD was that he simply didn't have enough armor-piercing power. He had a couple of archers, but the Matter wasn't nearby to boost the rate of fire. He had a couple of Lancers, but that was basically all. He really struggled against the armor of the Men-at-Arms and even Knights. If he had a handful of crossbows, that fight probably would have been very different from what we've seen. He still is going to have another window to push this, but this is going to be increasingly difficult because now Beasty has a decent and remarkable standing army. He's up to 17 Men-at-Arms already.
Yeah, that gap is slowly closing. And you start immediately firing, spreading around onto the TC. The horsemen wrapping around, trying to hit the villagers. If at least you don't take down the TC, you want to make sure that as much eco damage is done. They keep on rolling. This TC is forfeit. You don't want to run into the infantry here. But doing damage in the meantime. Also, it's Beasty sending units off into his opponent's villagers, but with the TC being lost, that is a substantial amount of damage done. Can you finally clear out with the reinforcements? Should be doable here, but it's pulling away some of MarineLorD's attention from the main fight. But realistically, the position's been taken. It's a good spot to be in.
It's the food issue for Beasty that's going to kick in very soon. That town center wasn't a hunt and a patch of berries. Beasty, he has a couple of farms set up around the Aachen Chapel. He also has a patch of deer on the left side that he's taking right now, but that's all. If he runs out of food, he could be in big trouble, and compared to him, MarineLorD is fishing. MarineLorD does have safe hunt and berries available, so sustaining that unit flood could be a lot easier for MarineLorD, but Beasty is here to stay, and this arm is actually looking pretty good for him once again. Armor-piercing power kinda missing from the composition of MarineLorD. Those crossbows are not here, really. It's only a handful of them on the battlefield.
There's not enough of a mass of them to be in a good spot to really clear out all that infantry, all that heavily armored infantry pushing forward. Yes, you bought yourself a bit more time as Beasty, though, but those towers are going to go down very quickly to it. Emergency repairs are coming in, and can you keep the Rams alive? Seems like they will stay alive for just a moment longer here. Will be enough. Should just be there. Crossbows and the archers being pushed back as we speak. And even vills are being rallied to clear out whatever is left from the front, but so much splash damage happening down on the villagers. Quite a few of them here down to low HP, a few also lost in the meantime. The Cav will keep on rushing through to clear out the extra vills. Position's been taken, more damage on the towers, and now no potential for emergency repairs. That flank from Beasty has been cleaned up. It's 75 mil to 9. Not a lot left here for Beasty to work with, and his eco advantage has pretty much been taken away. All of the farm fields are empty.
What a fight, really. And when the second wave of crossbows arrived, you could see the entire army of Beasty just disappear. A lot of Janissaries in the mix as well for MarineLords that helped in this engagement. Mangonel Fire, obviously, coming in clutch and just wiping out the villagers as well as the buildings. Now the farming grounds are being burnt down. Beasty's eco advantage is gone. But above everything, he's got no standing army, so holding off 80 plus units over here from the Ottomans seems next to impossible. So here, MarineLorD is inches away from equaling this series out and going into game number 3 with a 1-1 score.
Yep, and having those, I guess, extra privileges in the back of the military schools was really helping pump out a passive amount of units, just waiting for the right moment where Ottomans can just overwhelm HRE in this case. Despite the clutch emergency repairs, it's just not enough to hold them back. Like you say, this is only a matter of time. More and more bits are being cleared out here, even the production being hit by MarineLorD. Even if it pulls back at this moment, it would still only be a matter of time. He's trying to mass up whatever he can, but the siege engines are being pulled back. The Springhold is being deployed as we speak, but can't really survive on the front line. Defensive keep has been put in the back, but this can only delay the inevitable. Warren farms are being burnt to the ground and spreading bit by bit. Look at that. Make sure that even though there's a potential of you not clearing out the Beasty, MarineLorD can still have such a massive hit on the economy that things will still be fine.
Exactly, that's the big thing here. Beasty is a survival artist, so never count Beasty out. But for MarineLorD here, the storyline has to be just making sure that you do as much damage as you can, and I think he's accomplished that. He's destroyed numerous farms, he's managed to take down Beasty's eco to 50 villagers, and he's actually yet to find the workers on the left side. If MarineLorD ever finds that, he's also going to take another big hit on his opponent's eco. He's yoinking away the relics as well. And look at that, Beasty just trying to get a keep up out there. Trying to make something happen in a game that's almost guaranteed to be lost for him at this point, or at least based on what we see on the screen. If this keep goes up, it could make the game a little bit messier, but MarineLorD looks like he's in a commanding position right now.
I mean, even if you lose that stone that's being threatened by the keep, you just go to another one, right? You have so much map control that it's no problem for you to relocate, whereas for Beasty, that is definitely not the case here. And MarineLorD's just gonna take his time. He's done enough eco and mill damage that he can fall back and not have to worry about a flood coming directly after him. There's a relocation, a defensive keep's gonna come out from MarineLorD, smart decision making, and like you said, Beasty is someone who can survive for ages. That's basically his biggest strength. But if you slowly pick and prod at him as MarineLorD, you use that eco advantage you've had for so long, then he's not gonna be able to pull back into this game.
Yeah, now, if Beasty ever gets to Imperial, once again, Palace of Swabia is a possible recovery arc, but this time around the big difference is that he doesn't have the standing army to defend himself with. That would allow him to get to Imperial. So, unless MarineLorD plays a very passive game over here, Beasty should be given no window to recover. Now, looking at MarineLorD, it looks like he's the one who's thinking about Imperial Age, banking up resources, and it's probably the right way to go over here. If he ever feels like he isn't sure if he can break the stalemate, just go into Imperial, you have the bigger army, get the technologies, and that should be enough to finish the game.
And speaking of techs, both players pretty equal on it as they continue to invest in their tech, keeping up with their opponent, be it eco or military, in those upgrades. That mass of archers from the Ottomans. MarineLorD just has so much to work with, and so much siege also behind him. So many springolds, so many mangoes right up behind. They're going to be able to slash through the infantry that dive right onto them, trying to do damage, close to clearing them actually, taking a lot of damage from what Beasty was able to muster in the meantime. Archers trying to clear out the spearmen in the meantime, but look at the amount of damage that's been done to that oh so expensive siege that MarineLorD has been able to bring up. A lot of dead archers. You need the mass. Almost 20 of them have been lost in this one engagement, and despite being in the backhand, Beasty is still keeping up the pressure.
Yeah, this was a very much suboptimal engagement for MarineLorD. He at least keeps the matter alive, but that's the only upside of this. And I guess the fact that an even trade of armies is something that favors MarineLorD at this point. He's still floating a lot of resources, didn't decide to go for Imperial just yet. He also didn't really double down on military production though, but okay, there's a second wave coming, and Beasty, he held on for the first time. It's gonna be a little bit more difficult to hold on the second time, especially because he also lost a bunch of villagers on the crossfire. He went out for that gold mine, lost like 10 villagers that he could ill afford to lose, and oh boy, that could be a disaster. Mangonel's getting caught off guard from the flank.
That would be massive with more reinforcements coming in. Mehteros also to add to that attack power of the Ottoman archers. It's going to be pretty massive. Springolds also to help in the back. Oh, so much siege going down. Unfortunately, the big advantage that Beasty had is slowly slipping away. The numbers are coming in. Last Springold is alive, but only by a hair. There it is, cleaned up. There's a keep in the back. You can at some point get your own siege to fire at it from the top of the hill. You need a bit more info on it. The archer should be able to melt off those spearmen should an engagement happen soon. But Beasty wants those fields, those farms, to keep on rolling and get him as much food as possible to keep up production. He actually has quite a bit of food banked up. But like you said, he's looking to go into Imp, and he's not being allowed to because of the constant pressure, wave after the other from MarineLorD.
Yeah, for Beasty, the only realistic recovery arc would be Imperial Age of the Pass of Swabia. He's down by 3 relics, unlike he was in the previous game. He also is down quite substantially in economy, so his only win condition or his only recovery condition would be going into Imperial, but he's going to get beaten to it by MarineLorD, who's aging with the Istanbul Observatory. And now, decks can be unlocked, bombards can make an appearance, and you see Beasty knows that he needs to make something happen right here, right now. He's going to send all his forces to the base of the opponent, even pulling villagers for what seems to be an attempt at a landmark snipe.
He's pulling all the boys and the girls for it. They're all pushing through. That defensive keep is paying dividends right now. They fire right onto the main TC. It's getting lower and lower, but more armies being pulled in. It's going to take a bit more for MarineLorD to get himself back into place. TC is just surviving so long. There it is, finally on fire. Villagers are even being pulled in here by MarineLorD. Realizes this is the do or die fight. The first landmark's been taken down. The keep has been doing a lot of damage in the background, but that's just passive damage. That's about it. There's the army coming in for the save, and a lot of siege being fired right into that mass of infantry, really. Vills and all for Beastyqt, and that is it. MarineLorD takes map 2.
Crazy game once again, and we could go all the way back to Dark Age to see the reasons of why this game unfolded the way it did. Go back to Dark Age, and you see Beasty had the nice anticipation of the barracks coming up from MarineLorD on the front, but he wasn't able to hold off double barracks worth of production of spearmen, and after that, he lost water control. MarineLorD was the one who had the better eco using water, and from that point on, it was just a faster eco ramp up, and indeed, we see that on this chart. MarineLorD led in economy for quite a while, especially after that initial engagement, which allowed him to push into the farming eco and do so much eco damage.
It really was, again, a game that centered all about small differences. You talked about Dark Age, just those 2 barracks. They could have changed it all. We know the power of HRE to remain in game for so long. It's as much of a cockroach civilization as it can be in this context. But that advantage that MarineLorD was able to get